Hello traders, welcome back to my channel. So today I got a very exciting update. TradingView has finally released their own in-house market profile indicator. There was a few community made versions out there, but they've finally gone ahead and made their own official one. So in this video, I'm going to split it into two parts. First, we're going to talk about how to apply it on the chart, how to get rid of the candlesticks here so we can see it properly, and how all the settings work. And then I'm just going to do a quick comparison with in this case Sierra chart, which is the platform I use for my own day trading. However, NinjaTrader, Jigsaw, there's a lot of other platforms that have really great market profile indicators as well. But I'm just going to compare to show you so far the limitations that this has. Remember, this was just released, so it is in beta version. So the functionality is still a little limited. I'm sure they're going to keep improving it as time goes on. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So we're going to start with a futures chart, the S&P 500 from the CME. I'm on a 30-minute time frame. Generally, whenever you talk about market profile, you're always going to think about it in 30-minute periods. So I'm on a 30-minute chart right here, and we're going to go to indicators. We're going to go to technicals. Then we're going to go to profiles. So indicators, technicals, profiles, and then right here, time price opportunities, beta, new. We're going to click on that, and that is going to bring the indicator on our chart. Now remember, this is an indicator, not a drawing tool. So that means if you change into any other market, this is going to come up the same. You're going to have it right here on the top left. You can toggle it on and off on the view if you want. And if I zoom in, you can see then right here, we actually have the market profile on the left and then volume profile on the right. You can toggle the volume profile on and off as well if you want. But generally, market profile traders, we like to have them both side by side, as both together give us some really good information. The main difference between these two, and I got a whole video coming up very soon going over this, the market profile is measuring the relationship between price and time. So it is extending in the areas where price has spent the most time at those price levels. Whereas on a volume profile is a relationship of price and volumes, meaning that the profile is going to extend depending on how much volume is being traded at those levels. And I'm going to go a little more into this later. But first step, once we put it in, you're going to notice that we have the candlesticks right on front of the profile. You could go on it and right click and put send to back, and that brings the candlestick to the front, but it's still very hard to read. So unless you're going to use a very light shading on the market profile behind it and the volume profile, it's not recommended you have candlesticks on top of it. That's not how you normally use it. You would just right click, go to settings, then under the symbol settings, you're going to see that right here we have all the graphic settings for the candlesticks. So if I just take this off, body, borders, wicks, candlesticks are going to disappear, and now I have a nice clean market profile chart. Okay, now when you first put this in, it's going to look a little bit different, the colors, etc., because like I mentioned, I've already customized this how I want. Let's go into the settings. You can either double click on it and bring up the window, or on the top left here, you can press the gear icon and it's going to be the same thing. So I'm just going to go explaining every option we have here on the menus on the top. So first thing, You're gonna be able to customize the periods depending on number of days, weeks, or months. This is a daily profile on the S&P futures. So basically this goes from 6 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. That's 23-hour trading days in futures. If I change this and go into like, let's say like a Forex market, the indicator is loading. Nothing comes up because obviously I erased the candlesticks, but you can see right here. Now we have our market profile in the Forex market. You can go to crypto. Any market works with this. I'm going to talk about the row settings very soon. So that is the periods. You can also change this to put a weekly profile. So right here we have pretty much a market profile consisting of 5 trading days altogether, etc. Okay, so let's go back to the daily. Block size, like I said, by default you can change this to different periods, but by default market profile is always based on 30-minute periods. This setting is pretty significant now, and I think they need to work on this. There is an auto setting, which if you can put, you can see it just looks very clunky because it basically sets the row size automatically depending on what market you're looking at on the price scale, etc. But it just looks very bad. So what I found out playing around with this beta version is I like to use manual, and then each market that you use is going to have sort of its ideal setting as far as ticks. Because remember, the ticks are basically the smallest unit of measurement that the price moves in. So if we're talking about the S&P 500 futures, every tick is 0.25 points. Okay, so this is all based on the price scale of the market you're using. So I found with this market, between 3 and 5 is like a nice balance as far as tick size, because what you want to do is you want to have enough detail so that you can identify edges on your profile, you can identify your single prints, you can identify the excess at the extremes, etc. Okay, so I found just playing around this, like I said, for the S&P 500, I like to use probably like 5 is a good one. If I go into a market like crypto, this is a Bitcoin chart, you can see that I'm getting a warning out here, and if I click on it, it's going to say that the histogram is too large and I need to increase the ticks per row input. Okay, so you can see the price scale on Bitcoin is obviously a lot higher. We're right now at 27,000 or so. So in this case, I would want to make it, let's say like 1,000 ticks per row. And then you can see now it comes up, and you can keep playing with this. If you want a little more detail, you can go down maybe to 900, etc. And it's just going to make it finer and finer. But again, you just want to have good detail to identify all your singles, your edges, etc. Okay, let's go back to the S&P. You can see now it looks all messed up because the ticks are too high. So I'm just going to go back to 5. And we're back to our regular setting right there. Okay, maybe 4. I think 4 look nice. Okay, so value area percentage by default is going to come at 70, but I like to use 68 just to be more precise. I've talked a lot about value area in my volume profile videos, etc. Is basically the 68% of the traded volumes for this session occurred in this area. And when we talk about market profile, we're looking at time instead of volume. So the value area, for example, on this market profile means that during this trading day from here all the way to here, 68% of the time the market was within this price range. Okay, so just remember that when you're thinking of market profile, you're thinking of time versus price. Volume profile, you're thinking of volume versus price. Let's go into style. Gradient color. This is basically, if you start from left to right, this is at the open of the day, and as the day progresses, it's going to start shifting to the next color. If you want to do just a single color, you can set all this the same if you want, but I like to have it just from lighter to darker. But here, like if I just put this as red, then you can see how the gradient starts in the grays and then ends up in like the red, which is like towards the end of the day. But again, I just like to have this in shades of gray. The opacity upside value area, this is basically your outside the 68%. This controls how light or dark it is. I like to just keep it at a sort of medium tone. Now, market profile, there's two ways to look at it. You can display it as blocks as we have here, or you can display it as letters. I think they're still probably working on the letter settings, because I tried to switch to letters, but nothing seems to be happening. So I think this is something that they're still developing. But with letters, basically, that's why if you hear talking about A period, B period, C period, etc., every 30-minute segment is going to have one letter. So then you would usually open up with the A period. Then after that, you would get the B period, then the C period, each one 30 minutes, okay? In general, I like to work with blocks anyway. So for me, I just keep this as blocks. And then the price and the line labels, if we pay attention, for example, to this day right here, you can see the value area high. It's simply the top edge of the value area low is here. Point of control is the level with the most time traded, which you can see it's a dark black line right here. And as you're going to notice, points of control are not always going to match between the market and the volume profile. Like in this case, the point of control was at 44.20, and in the volume profile it was at 44.08, just because we're measuring time and volumes. Okay, so all these settings you can enable and disable. The TPO midpoint basically just shows you the 50% of this whole profile that you have over here. Open and close markers, and the initial balance range. If you notice, there's this little black bars here on the left. What this measures is the opening range, which is set by default. I like to use 2, which basically means 2 periods, so A and B periods. So the first hour of the trading day, it's set by this range. These ranges look tiny because this is the extended trading hours in futures. But if you want to just display regular market hours, down here, if you click on this, you can put regular trading hours, and this is going to reload. And now the profiles are only going to be showing market hours from 9:30 a.m. up until 4 p.m. when the stock market closes. And so you can see right here, your opening ranges are a lot wider, because during regular market hours opens, that's when we get a lot of volatility and volumes coming in. Okay, So the opening range is especially useful during significant openings like the London Open if you're trading like Forex, and the New York Open, especially if you're trading equities. Okay, and there's a bunch of strategies. I'm not going to go over them with the opening range, where you look for breakouts out of the opening range for trending days, or maybe a false breakdown and then we come up and then we target the other side, etc. Okay, so that's the style tab. Next we have the volume profile options. In this ones you can toggle on and off the volume profile. Then we have values. This is if you expand your volume profile, depending what tick size you're using for the rows, you get the total volumes traded at each of those levels. And then you can change your coloring, your value area, high, lows, etc. for your volume profiles like you have right here. And then you can change the coloring of the outside of volume or the value area, which will be this right here. Okay, and then the placement, you can place it on the left or the right. I generally like to have both on the left, so they're both pointing in the same direction. Okay, and the last option here is visibility, where you can just select what time frame you want this to show up in. In general, I like to just have it in the minutes, since I am always using market profile when looking at a 30-minute chart. Then I like to have it on a 30-minute time frame, but again, this is just personal preference. Okay, so that is pretty much all the settings. Again, you can use this in any market. So now let's just quickly do some comparisons of the shortcomings that I see when compared to other trading platforms. For example, Sierra chart, which I have right here. So the first one I already showed you, and it is the fact if you're trading Forex or crypto, which is just a complete 24-hour session per day, it doesn't really make that much of a difference unless you would really want to split Asia, London, New York. But in general, you would trade those markets as one single day. When it comes to futures, some people like myself, I like to split this into both sessions. So for example, if we look at this profile from Friday here, if I go into Sierra chart, that is this same profile here, but I have an option here where I can split it by sessions. So if I go here, you can see that I have two profiles on Friday. So this is the extended trading hours from 6 p.m. until 9:30 a.m. the next day. And this is from 9:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. when we close for the day. Okay, so the option to split sessions, it's something that is not yet available on TradingView, but you can trade, like I showed you, either a complete 23-hour day, or you can select here regular trading hours and just trade the regular stock market hours. Okay, another limitation that we have now is we cannot mark off singles and poor highs and lows, and we cannot make extensions. So if you look at this market profile that I have here on Sierra, you can see that, for example, I have my points of control to extend until a future intersection. So like right here, it stopped right there. This one has not yet been touched, so this is going to keep extending until market comes and touches it. I like extensions just because these areas are nice confluence targets or areas of interest. And similarly, you can see, for example, the singles and the poor highs and lows I have here highlighted. So for example, here, this pink line is a single. A single is basically a single 30-minute period where we did not accumulate any time here. So if you think about a chart, This is basically representing like a gap or like an impulsive move on the chart. Here we have another single print, meaning market open right here. We had a very strong move down, and in this whole price range from here to here, we only had one single period of 30 minutes that traded through that area. So these areas tend to be weak structure, and market tends to come back to fill them. And so that's why I always like to highlight the singles, and I like to have extensions from them. And the last element is the poor highs and lows. So a poor high and low is formed when we don't have a nice excess on the profile. So going back to TradingView, if we go back, this is, for example, a poor high where we have two blocks side by side, or two letters side by side, meaning, and we have it here right as well, we had a poor high and low on both extremes of this profile. Usually we want to see something like this. We want to see at least one or two single prints at the edges of the market profiles, because this indicates that this was a good auction. We had a nice excess, and so this was a well auctioned low on this session. Market came down, buyers stepped in, and impulsively this found buyers that pushed this up. When we have this poor highs and lows, this indicates that this there's not a finish auction at the edges of this, and market is going to tend to come back and retest these areas. You can think of this almost as a double high or double low, where we have price came to this level and then came right back to that same level again. So these are areas where we have lots of resting liquidity usually, and so I like to mark them off and also extend them. So that's another limitation we don't have on TradingView. And the last limitation, which is very important to most market profile traders, is the ability to do composites or split their profiles. What do we mean by composites? Well, a market profile, let's say we want to mark off an area here. We have several trading days here of confluence in this area. So, and when we do a composite, we're able to merge all these profiles together to make one big market profile on this area of confluence. And this helps us in the bigger picture just to look at where price is finding acceptance. Because with market profile, we're mainly tracking the interest or the confluence of buyers and sellers in the auction process, and we're looking for either areas of balance or imbalance. So for example, if I zoom out here, you can see that we have three general areas of balance here. We have this area right here, and then we found some balance here. So market tends to come, build value in an area, and then either break out or break down, seeking previous areas of value. Here we broke out even more, and probably behind here there was some more areas of value, and then we build this. So the composites, like I said, you can merge this. So here on Sierra chart, for example, I right click, merge with prior profile, right click, merge with prior, right click, merge with prior. So I took those 4 trading days and I made one big market profile of that price. And you can see with closing right below this value, this is important information, because as you can see, we're now closing outside of value area. So this could lead to an imbalance and for price to come look for prior areas, etc. Okay, and then I can just undo everything and it goes back to normal. And also I can split each session or each profile for the day into its own row, into its own profile and its own 30-minute periods as well. This is very useful because here you can see how this evolved. This is basically looking at a 30-minute chart, 30-minute candlestick chart. It's exactly the same. You're just basically, if I put a 30-minute chart here next to this one, it will look exactly the same, except obviously this, you know, we don't see the candle body, etc. But you can see how we opened here, we pushed down, we pushed up, and then we came and closed here. Because if you just look at this, you have the open, you have the close, but you don't really have a lot of information of how this formed. All you can see is just the areas of the point of control, etc. If you split the profile, you can see the evolution of each 30-minute period throughout that profile. So that is another option that is yet not available on TradingView. Hopefully they'll implement these things in future updates, but that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope this has been very insightful. If they make any new updates, I'll make sure to make new videos showing you all these new options. If you want to learn more about all my trading strategies with market profiles, definitely go check out my course page as well in the link in the description. Okay, hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you all in the next one.